How's life going these days, Anne Marie?
You know what? Life is going pretty great. I feel so happy at SRV. What about you?
I wish I could say the same. I'm just not that happy at Monta Vista, and I don't know why.
I think that in order to have a happy life, you need to be surrounded by a community of people that you enjoy spending time with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Monta Vista doesn't have as good of a community as SRV. It's weird because I'm such an important figure for a school, being a class officer and all, but I do not feel happy.
Sounds to me like you're living a meaningful life. You have an important job and others look up to you.
Exactly. Wow, I'm impressed. How do you know all the answers?
Well, my English class recently finished reading Fahrenheit 451. One of the main themes of the book is the difference between a happy life and a meaningful life.
Oh, that's so cool. Tell me more about that.
So the main protagonist, Guy Montag, is like you. He has a meaningful life, but he is not happy. He's a fireman, which is a pretty significant job in his society, and he's viewed as a prominent figure. However, he does not like the other firemen, and him and his wife do not love each other.
You're right. That does sound similar to me.
When Guy is asked if he's happy, he responds on page 10, "Happy, of all the nonsense, of course I'm happy." At first, he believes that because he has meaning and a meaningful life, that he is happy. However, as the night continues on, he realizes that he is not living a happy life. On page 12, it says, "He felt his smile fade away. He was not happy. He was not happy. He said the words to himself."
Wow, how interesting. Did you learn anything else about this topic?
Indeed, I did. I read an article titled "The Unexpected Way That Technology Makes Us Unhappy." The author really spoke to me when he wrote, "We humans love to compare ourselves to the people around us. Even when we are reasonably happy with what we have, we become dissatisfied once we compare ourselves to someone who has something better."
Wow, that is so true. I feel like nowadays we're too busy worrying what others think of us instead of being our true selves.
Exactly. This article led me to believe that living a happy life is when you live in the moment and don't compare yourself to others.
I agree. So, what should I do to start living a happy life?
Well, first, you should transfer away from the School of Darkness and come to San Ramon. That will help for sure. Then you can get involved in clubs and make friends with people that you really enjoy spending time with. Don't get too caught up in what others view you as, and don't compare yourself to others. The best thing to do is to be yourself.
Wow, Anne Marie, you helped me so much. I can't thank you enough. I can't wait to transfer and come to SRV next year and surround myself with a happy community.
Okay, class, welcome to your first session of Wellness Day here at SRV. To start the day off, you guys have chosen to come here and to discuss the current issues faced in average teen life.
What will we be specifically talking about today?
Well, the first question of today's session is on how would you define the meaning of true happiness?
Ooh, I would love to discuss this topic.
Okay, I will leave you guys to lead your discussion.
Well, if I may go first, I would like to bring up the idea of true happiness being linked to being honest with yourself and others.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
With this, true happiness comes from being authentic and in the moment. I recently saw a TED Talk that relates to that called The Power of Authenticity. I believe the speaker was Mike Robbins. I loved how the speaker spoke about how happiness is achieved through existing in a visceral experience where you live in the moment again.
Yeah, in addition, I think if I remember correctly, there's an iceberg metaphor. Do you know what that was?
He used that to show how we all need to go beneath the surface, below the waterline, to expose what we're truly thinking. I love the idea on how being authentic can benefit everyone by having the effect of freeing our inner thoughts and inspiring others to do so.
I agree. I wish everyone was more honest to their true opinions instead of just following the majority's view.
I feel the same. When I'm more open with my thoughts, I feel much happier that I've accepted myself.
That was a great first discussion. The next question is if you think knowledge contributes to happiness.
Going off of our earlier discussion, I think we should re-highlight Mike Robbins' TED Talk, where he mentioned the motto of, "If you really knew me, you would know this."
Yeah, I agree with that part being important because it relates to having knowledge.
Yes, in my opinion, I feel that having knowledge can expand in many different ways and not being confined to having just intellectual knowledge about science or math, for example. In this case, I believe that knowledge does contribute to happiness by having more knowledge of other people's lives.
That relates to not just focusing on yourself.
This question reminds me of this book we're reading in English class called Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I remember that there was this big speech made by a character named Faber that relates to this. I actually have the book with me right now.
I remember that the main idea of his speech was about how the absence of knowledge in books and society has led to a meek, unhappy state in people and book. He also talks about having books leading to past happiness because of the truth they told, and how it brought people back into the sense of reality.
Yeah, let me look in the book real quick. Oh, actually, there's a quote right here that gives Faber's answer to the question with, "We do need knowledge." Those books remind us of what fools we are. On page 86, that reminds me of how he explained that knowledge is so important to achieving happiness that it should be produced in many forms if possible. I found a relating quote where he explains, here a moment, let me find it. Oh, right here. Take it where you can find it. In old phonograph records, old motion pictures, and in old friends. Look for it in nature, and look for it in yourself. Books were only one type of receptacle, where we stored a lot of things we were afraid we might forget. On page 82. I think the best way to summarize Faber's speech is with him mentioning the 3 things from books that links to happiness and are now missing from society, which includes right here, quality of information, leisure to digest it, and the right to carry out actions based on what we learned from the interaction of the first 2 on page 84 to 85.
Wow, I'm so glad we live in a world where we're free to learn and read from books.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, Anne-Marie. How are you on your phone right now? It's a beautiful day.
Whoa. Wow, technology is really negatively affecting our levels of fulfillment. I can't believe you just startled when I tried to talk to you. You're acting just like Mildred, Mrs. Phelps, and Mrs. Bowles reacted on Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 on page 93. The ladies go to the parlor immediately when they're hanging out instead of actually trying to talk to each other. On page 96, Bradbury even says that Montag saw them startle when he tried to talk to them.
How are you comparing me to fictional characters? That's not even real life.
But it's really similar to real life. I mean, if you remember from the photo center at the inquiry stations, we were going around, all of those photos were of people surrounding themselves with technology, even when they were around friends and family. It's not just that we're using our phones to connect, we're not talking, we're not making those real life connections. It's a lack of connections that's creating a void in everyone's lives. That void's making it so we're not really fulfilled.
What do you mean? How do we fill that void?
Well, right now, we're trying to fill that void by going back to our phones, and it's just making it worse. As soon as the iPhone was created, did you know that American feelings of loneliness actually increased dramatically? I saw it at the Statistics Center during the inquiry stations. Not only that, but teenagers use their phones so much that a survey cited in the article, "Is Technology Killing Happiness? Here are a few tips to figure out why." 50% of teens stated that they felt addicted to their phones. As people turn more to their phones, the void in their lives just get bigger because they're still not connecting to actual people. It's much like the void that Mildred is described to have on page 13 by Bradbury in Fahrenheit 451. When the snake goes into her stomach, it says that it's trying to slush up the emptiness because she is empty. The void that Mildred has leads her to commit suicide, and that's the void that technology is creating in all of us.
Oh gosh, really? I need to stop using my phone so much. I don't want anything bad to happen.
Well, I'll always be here to talk.